Welcome to our exploration of Chapter 5 in Ethics Matters. This is your Professor Joe. Today's lecture brings us into the heart of one of the most controversial and thought-provoking areas in ethics, the forms of ethical relativism. We'll focus on three key forms: ethical subjectivism, cultural relativism, and religious relativism. We'll examine their historical foundations, key thinkers, strengths, and most importantly, their limitations through real-life cases. Let's begin with ethical subjectivism, also known as individual relativism. This theory holds that moral judgments are based on personal feelings and sentiments, not on objective or universal truths. When someone says, stealing is wrong, they're not stating a fact. They're expressing how they feel, like saying, I don't like stealing. The philosophical foundations of this view can be traced to David Hume. Hume argued that reason alone cannot determine what is right or wrong. Rather, it is our passions that shape our moral judgments. As he famously said, reason is and ought only to be the slave of the passions. Jean-Jacques Rousseau took this further. He believed that morality arises from natural human compassion and our inner voice, not from external rules or institutions. According to Rousseau, trust yourself, let the heart lead. Strengths. Ethical subjectivism honors sincerity and emotional authenticity. It respects individual moral autonomy in an age where diverse perspectives abound. Is this acceptable? It implies everyone is always morally right, even a tyrant or a murderer, as long as they sincerely believe it. It renders moral debate meaningless, just expressions of taste. It makes moral progress impossible. There's no growth, just change. It leads to social fragmentation. Without common moral ground, shared justice collapses. There are some case examples of ethical subjectivism. Say, a hate crime justified by personal belief, or a CEO using how I feel to excuse embezzlement, or a student bullying others, claiming it's not wrong in his eyes. Ethical subjectivism teaches us that feelings are important, but they cannot be the sole foundation of morality. The second form is cultural relativism. It extends the idea of subjectivism beyond the individual to society. It claims that what is morally right or wrong depends on cultural norms. Morality, like language or fashion, is socially constructed. This view was influenced by thinkers like Charles Darwin, who suggested behaviors evolve through adaptation, Herbert Spencer, who misused this to rank cultures, and Ruth Benedict, who argued that moral norms are social conventions, not universal truths. This kind of relativism encourages tolerance and discourages ethnocentrism. It promotes cultural sensitivity in global interactions. It defends cultural autonomy and identity. It supports culturally competent practice in medicine, education, and governance. Let me cite my criticism on this. So, if every culture is right, we lose the ability to condemn injustices like slavery or genocide. It makes moral reform impossible. Reformers become immoral by challenging norms. Creates a tolerance paradox. Should we tolerate intolerance? Oversimplifies cultures and silences internal dissent. Let us take a look on some case studies. Animal worship in India, sacred cows versus the starving children, honor killings in tribal societies, culture versus personal freedom and dignity. So, this is a challenging situation for ethicists. Can we allow cultural relativism while seeking balance, respecting cultures, while upholding universal human dignity? This is the third form, religious relativism, that religion has long guided morality. But religious relativism examines the ethical consequences of linking moral truth solely to divine command. We begin with divine command theory. Morality is determined by God's will. Thou shalt not kill is wrong because God commands it. Dostoevsky warned, if God does not exist, everything is permitted. But Kai Nielsen counters, if morality is simply what God says, then morality becomes arbitrary. What if different religions command different things? Some takeaways: this divine command theory provides moral clarity and purpose. It offers spiritual motivation to do good. It shows conflicting divine commands between religions. It opens up ambiguity in interpretation. What did God really mean? Each religion with their members offered biblical understanding and ended up finding scriptural contradictions. Peace versus violence. Learning from Plato, there was he called the Euthyphro dilemma. Is it good because God commands it, or does God command it because it's good? Fear-based morality. Do we act rightly out of love or fear? The problem of evil. Why would a good God allow suffering? Incompatibility with pluralism. How can divine command theory guide public ethics in a diverse society? In our case studies, Andrea Yates killed her children claiming God's command. Yigal Amir assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Rabin, citing divine will. Colonialism, using religion to justify conquest and oppression. Religious relativism shows how divine ethics can inspire, but also be manipulated. Ethics grounded in divine command must be guided by reason, compassion, and justice. So, let me offer some takeaways. Ethical relativism teaches humility. It reminds us that morality is shaped by personal, cultural, and religious contexts. But it also warns us, if everything is relative, we may lose the ability to confront evil, defend the vulnerable, or seek justice. Subjectivism gives us sincerity, but lacks common ground. Cultural relativism gives us tolerance, but risks silence in the face of harm. Religious relativism gives us conviction, but may conflict with pluralistic justice. Philosophy does not ask us to reject relativism entirely. It invites us to reflect, critique, and grow. To live ethically, we must balance empathy with reason, respect with truth, and diversity with the pursuit of justice. Let us continue this journey with open minds, compassionate hearts, and a shared commitment to a more humane world. Can we respect different moral views without giving up our commitment to justice? Is there a middle ground between moral relativism and moral absolutism? How can we engage in moral dialogue in a divided world? Thank you for joining this lecture. Until next time, keep questioning, keep reflecting, and keep seeking what is truly good. I hope to see you in our next episode on consequentialism.